ini.
दिखा रहे हैं और क्या
वो सूरज दिखाने आए मेरे हटिए ना कैसे दिखाएंगे दिख रहा है
मम्मी
देखिए देख तो जाए
Hello students, welcome to Trunkie Academy, and today we will study about the stem and its modifications. In the last class we studied about the root, and since we are studying these things under the chapter called morphology of flowering plants, okay, so morphology, as I told you, is the study of external structure, okay, the structure which is present on the external surface of the organism, okay. And when you study about the external features or external structure, this is called morphology. And with regard to that, we study about the root, okay, and the modification of roots, okay. Normal functioning of the root is to absorb water from the soil, okay. It is present inside the soil, but in some cases we saw that these are modified for different functions, such as storage, support, and also for breathing for the plant, okay. So all the different kinds of functions we observed in the modification of root. Now today we will study about the stem, morphology of stem, and its modifications, okay. Now the stem is actually the central main axis of the shoot system, and this is above the ground, okay. So when there is development, or there is development of small seedlings, okay, from the germinating plants, so there is a small a precursor of the root is formed, and precursor of the shoot is formed. That is called a radicle and plumule, okay, from the seed. These radicals develop into root, and plumule develops into shoot, which is above the ground, and root develops into the soil. The stem is ascending part of the plant axis, bearing branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, okay. So this is above the ground, and it is it has branches, flowers, and fruits. This is very easy. Now it develops from the plumule of the embryo of germinating seed. As I told you, the upper green parts, which looks, that is the called the plumule, and the below the lower side, which is not green in color, and this is called the radicle. The stem bears nodes and internodes, okay. The nodes means from where the leaves are formed, okay, and the distance and the region between each node is called internode, okay. So that means, what is meant by nodes? The regions of the stem where leaves are born are called nodes, okay. So that is it. And what is internode? The portion between two nodes are called internodes. Very simple. Now the stem bears buds, which may be terminally or axillary. Means a stem is, okay. So that means buds means which is the just going to develop into in a developing stage. Stem is generally green when it is young, and later it becomes woody and dark brown when it is fully developed and it becomes old, okay. So now you can see this one. So it is initially green in color, okay, and when it is fully developed it turns into a dark brown. The function of the stem is to spread out branches bearing leaves, flowers, and fruits. So it is above the ground, it has got branches, it has nodes, internodes, it has got flowers and fruits, so that to spread out the branches, flowers, and fruits, okay, so to receive the sunlight on the leaves, okay, to expose the flowers for pollination by insects, bees, okay, and to bear the fruits which falls, and dispersal of seeds takes place. So it conducts water. There is a special kind of tissues called vascular tissue, conducting tissues, xylem and phloem, which conducts water, minerals, and also photosynthesis. Photosynthesis means the product synthesized by photosynthesis, food, manufactured food, okay. Some stem performs other functions like storage of food, support, protection, and vegetative propagation. So this is due to modification. In case of rose plant, you must have heard that cutting of stem is a method of propagating and producing rose plants, okay. Ascending part of the axis is root, or it is a stem. It is obviously a stem, leaf, not flower. So it is a stem. Very simple question. This question will not be asked. Just stem develops from plumule, seed coat, radicle, or cotyledon. It develops from plumule. Now, the region of stem where leaves are born is called internode, node, or branch. It is the node. Okay, so it is node. The stem generally green in color in young stage, but it later becomes woody and dark brown, or soft or red, or woody in green and soft in green. It is the woody and dark brown. Okay, because they are matured and slowly they develops the hard woody structure. Okay, and brown in color. Now, coming to the main part where questions are asked, modifications. We saw that the normal function of the stem is to spread out the branches, okay, leaves, fruits and flowers, but the other, and also carry some important substances, that is the water, minerals and manufactured food. Now in modification we'll see a change or deviation. What do you mean by modification? The change or deviation occurs in the structure of the stem to perform new functions other than their normal function, which are suitable to the surrounding environment, is called stem modification. Like we have already studied in modification of stem, where stems are, it is change or deviation in its normal structure, okay, and its functions, okay, depending on the surrounding, on the habitat or in the environment in which they are growing, okay, as per the demand of the environment or demand by the plant to suit their the proper development and or growth, depending on the need of the plant, okay. So in flowering plants, angiosperms, three types of stem modification are observed, and they are underground stem modification, aerial stem modification, and subaerial stem modification. So in angiosperm plant, okay, angiosperm means the highly evolved group of the plant, okay, like flowering plants, and we find that underground stems modification within fully under the ground, under the soil, and aerial means above the ground, okay, and subaerial means partly in the ground and partly on the surface, or partly in the soil, okay. So underground stem modifications are modified plant structure that derive from stem tissue but exist under the soil surface. Actually, these parts are actually derived from the stem only, but they exist under the soil surface. Modified part of the plant structure, okay. And what is stem modification? The plant which show underground stem modification not only store food material but also act as organs of penetration to tide over the conditions unfavorable for growth, okay. So when there is unfavorable conditions, okay, and these modified stems, they are storing food and they supply when there is unfavorable conditions and when the plant requires the food, okay. A change or deviation occurs in the structure of the stem to perform a new function which are suitable. That I have already discussed these things. Now, they also help in vegetative propagation. Means, as I told you, when you cut the rose plant, okay, obliquely on the stem, okay, we cut the rose stem obliquely and you try to grow, okay, and you just then place that stem cut part little bit into the soil, and from there the roots will grow, and then again a new individual plant will grow and fully develop, okay, and it will fully develop from that cut part. So that means it is propagating the vegetative. So it is also used or help equal in vegetative propagation. So they are divided into four categories: underground stem modifications, that means stem, tuber, rhizome, and corm and bulb, okay. So try to understand this one. In case of underground, fully underground, under the soil, okay, in stem modification, there are four types, okay. Stem tuber means stem tuber means potato. The best example is the potato. This potato is not fruit, not root, it is a stem. It is a modified stem. So potato is a underground modified stem where we find germinating eye bud, a scare of stem, you can see eyes, you can see, and from that scare of leaf or germinating eye bud, a new plant can grow from there, or a new pot can be formed, okay. So this is the example of underground stem modification, potato, okay. Corn, it is a colocasia, another example of is underground stem modification, corn. This is also the underground stem modification. Now third one is the rhizome, like we find in ginger, adrak in it's called in Hindi. So in ginger we find that it is a rhizome, and this is also underground stem modification. Nodes, internodes are visible here, and bud is there, scale leaves are there, and adventitious roots are formed. So this is underground stem modification. Rhizome, gingiber. The scientific name is Gingiber officinale, and the common name is ginger. So this is another example, third type. So what we saw, that first one is the tuber. Second we saw that was the what we call it, tuber, a corm, okay, rhizome, and now another this turmeric is another example of the rhizome. So gingiber and turmeric both are examples of rhizome. Now another fourth one is the bulb. Okay, so bulb means a bulb-like structure is formed, and you can see adventitious roots are found at the base, but these are formed like scaly structure are found. Okay, disc-like structure at the base, and from where adventitious roots are formed. Okay, so base of the scap, a fleshy scale or apical bud just above the disc and axillary bud. So from there the plant will grow or develop. So this is an example of bulb. It's found in onion. Okay. Now aerial stem modification, these are divided into 5 categories. In case of the underground stem modification, there was 4 categories. That was tuber, that was corm, rhizome, and bulb. Okay. So in case of this aerial stem modification, above the ground, not underground, above the ground, there are 5 categories. Okay. So these are aerial stem modification, stem tendrils, okay, thorns, and phylloclades, and the cladophylls. Okay. Now when we say above the ground, so we have observed many times that a subtendon, okay, something wire-like tubular structure is found, and this is what we call that. For support in some plants, it is formed. Thorns, okay, spiny structures are formed. A phylloclade, or fleshy, okay, or big scaly structure is found in some plant, and cladophylls are also similar. So we'll see one by one. And the fifth one is the bulbous, okay, or bulbous. Now here, stem tendril they help in climbing. In some plants which are they need mechanical support and they are unable, that they have a weaker root, okay, so they help in climbing by growing on that particular some kind of support on the surface. So they help in climbing. Okay, they are slender, spirally coiled. So they are forming a spirally coiled like structure. For example, there is a rod, or there is some kind of structure. So they are spirally coiled, and they are providing the support to the growing plant. Such as slender, spirally coiled structure which may develop either from auxiliary buds, as in gourds. It's very commonly observed, like you have seen cucumber, okay, cucumber, and the pumpkin also we have seen, okay, cucumber and pumpkin, and watermelon. Yes, in watermelon also we observe this. So this is the stem tendril from the auxiliary buds, as in gourds, okay, cucumber, pumpkin, and watermelon, and or from the terminal bud, as in grapevines, like this one, as shown in the picture. Okay, so like grapevine. Okay, so now thorns, they are found in many plants. Thorns is very common. Like even the rose also there are thorns, isn't it? So the buds of stem may also get modified into woody, straight and pointed structure called thorns, spiny or pointed structures. Okay, they protect plants from grazing animals, because when they grazing, this pointed structure will harm that animals. Okay, and this will prevent from grazing. Okay, so it's a kind of defense mechanism. So they are from sharp pointed structure called thorns, and help in protecting the plants from grazing animals. Okay, for example, the bougainvillea and the citrus. Even the citrus also is very sharp, small, hard. These thorns are found. Okay, in the lemon and oranges also. Now phylloclades are plants of arid regions. Modify their stems into fleshy, flattened, or fleshy, cylindrical, or needle-like photosynthetic structure called phylloclades. Now try to understand. Arid regions, plants of arid, where there is less supply or less availability of water, and the condition is dry, and the soil is dry, and the availability of water is very less. So what will happen? These plants which are growing in the dry conditions they will have scarcity of water, and they are developing some kind of modification. Okay, they are adapted in such a way that they can sustain and they can live easily in less availability of water. So what they are, there are so many other different types of modification. One of the example is the phylloclades, and these phylloclades are fleshy, okay, flattened cylindrical structure, and needle-like structure, photosynthetic. So they carry out photosynthetic structure, and now you can see it in the picture also. They contain chlorophyll and carry out photosynthesis. The leaves are modified into spines or scale leaves, reduced transpiration. Okay, the leaves are reduced. Okay, because the leaves have got large surface area, lamina, through which the water is lost due to transpiration. So to prevent transpiration, the leaves are modified into spines or scale leaves to reduce transpiration. Okay, so these are the structure. You can see the opuntia, okay, cactus. So you can find the fleshy flattened phylloclade, okay, fleshy, and then find spines also on the surface. So to conserve water, okay, there is this structure is developed or modified. Okay, then Casuarina, this needle-like phylloclade is found in case of the Casuarina. Okay, now Euphorbia is another example where we find this kind of phylloclade, and this is modified to conserve water. Okay, fleshy, cylindrical. When you cut this, you will find so much of water. It's watery. Okay, so this fleshy, watery structure. Okay, this phylloclade. Okay, so what is phylloclade? Plants of arid region modified their stems into fleshy, flattened, or fleshy, cylindrical, or needle-like photosynthetic structure called phylloclade. This is the definition of phylloclades. Okay, so in arid regions, plants modify their stems into fleshy, flattened, or fleshy, cylindrical, or needle-like photosynthetic structure called phylloclades. Okay, now cladophylls. In some plants, branches show an immediate growth to perform photosynthesis as the leaves are modified into spines or scales leaves to reduce transpiration. So in some plants we find that the leaves are modified into scales or spines to reduce transpiration, because here in this case also there is scarcity of water and they need to conserve water. So now these leaf-like flattened branches that resemble and functions as leaf is called cladode, okay, or cladophylls. So they are actually not leaves, but they functions as the leaf. Okay, the leaf-like flattened. So they are actually the modified stem, not the leaf. Okay, so they are functions as leaf by performing the process of photosynthesis. Okay, and the actual leaves are reduced to spines and scale leaves to reduce transpiration. So these stems are modified as cladode or cladophylls to perform as leaf or function as leaf. Okay, because it has to conserve water. Okay. Now asparagus, the example is asparagus. Now in case of bulbous, in some plants, vegetative buds or the floral buds store food materials. Okay, vegetative buds means where the plant will grow into a whole plant body. Okay, starting buds or floral buds that will grow into a flower. Okay, the precursor, initial stage of the flower. When they detach from the parent plant, they develop adventitious root and help in vegetative propagation. So these bulbous, when they detached, okay, these birds detached from the parent body, they can develop into they develop the adventitious root into the ground, and then they form an individual plant body. So this is called vegetative propagation because they are growing. These structures are called bulbous. Now you see the diagram this here. You can see. Diascorea is one of the best example of the bulbous. Okay, vegetative bud is modified into bulbil, and here you can see another example, agave, floral bud is modified into floral bud. Okay, so this structure, okay, floral bud is modified into bulbil, and these floral bud then again, okay, when they detach or then when they are grown on the soil, they will form a new individual plant body. So this is the bulbil. Okay, this is bulbil of this diascorea. So you can see the bulbil structure like this here. So here, this one, okay, this bulbil. So if this is detached, okay, so they grow in the on the soil and they will develop into a whole individual plant body. So this is diascorea is the best example, agave and diascorea. Okay. Sub-aerial. Now we are coming to we study about the aerial modification and aerial and the underground stem modification. In underground stem modification, these are the 4 types, and that was the number 1 was the tuber, rhizome, corm, and bulb. Okay. In case of the aerial modification, we say 5 types. Now here we have got the 4 categories in case of sub-aerial. Okay. Now runner, stolon, offset, and the sucker. Now this is very important. Now from this to the modification, this is the most important one. Okay. Even this underground modification is also important in MCQ, which is asked. Okay. But this is very important. Okay. The 4 types we find in sub-aerial. That means on the surface. Okay. Or bit in the ground, or and bit on the surface or above the ground, or on the surface of the land, on the soil. Okay. So runner, stolon, offset, and sucker. So we'll see one by one. All sub-aerial modifications are also useful for vegetative. Yes, like we have observed in bulbous or in other cases. Okay, these modifications are also used for vegetative propagation. What do you mean vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation means the propagation, the reproduction. Okay, our formation of new individual from vegetative part, not from the reproductive part, like leaf, stem, and root. These are the vegetative part of the plant body. Vegetative part. Okay, not from the flower. Flower has got already reproductive organ. They will have reproduction and the new individual formed after fertilization and the embryo development now. But in case of the vegetative propagation, the plant, a new plant is grown from the vegetative part. Like as I told you, when you cut the rose plant obliquely on the stem, and you will grow a new plant, it will grow. Okay, so that is the vegetative propagation. Okay, runner means the underground stems in some grasses, in strawberry, and sub-aerial stems in oxalis spreads to new niche and form new plant when older parts die. What will happen? They are growing. Okay, what will happen? So older parts keeps on dying, and the new part then grow into a new plant. Okay, they keep on. So they are running. Runner means they are moving like this. So running. Okay. So from one region to another region, from one region to another region, they are running. They are going. Okay. From here to there. Okay. So such plants are called runners. They produce branches in all directions. Okay. Either up, down, left, right. Okay. So and spread to new niches. It may be this side or this side, this side. So they are running. Now here you can see the runner growing from auxiliary bird in axis of a scale. You can see new plants growing from auxiliary birds. Okay, so one bird, so older bird will suppose they will die. Okay, the new bird you can see. So if this die, for example, if this plant will die, okay, dry up and die, then this will form. If this will die, then here it will form, and here it is growing. Apical bird. Okay, so adventitious roots are formed into the soil. Okay, and tap root is formed in some cases. So scale leaf, strawberry runner, strawberry. Runner of grass. In grass also is similar. Okay, they are growing like this, isn't? And oxalis. In oxalis also they are growing from the nodes. Okay, so nodes we find a new plant body is growing. Okay, in the, above the soil. And stolons, these are slender lateral branches arise from the base of the main axis, and after growing aerially for some time, arcs downwards to touch the ground and produce adventitious. Now you see, nerium and jasmine. What will happen? Slender lateral branches, lateral, this side, okay, not horizontal, not vertical, but lateral, horizontal, not vertical, lateral, arise from the base of the main base. So if this is the main axis, from the base of this here, from the base, so they will lateral side, laterally, from the base, okay, and after growing aerially for some time, arcs downward. So they are from the base of the ground and then arc downward to touch the ground. So if they are growing from here, okay, and okay, horizontally, laterally like this, and then it will go to the down into touch the ground and produce adventitious roots. Okay, it is found in nerium, like you see. So from base, you can see the from base here. Here the diagram is picture is shown. Here is growing, isn't it? From the base growing, and then it will grow horizontal, laterally. Okay, so growing and then go down, and after growing, here it is going down into the soil, and then it's forming the adventitious root. And from there, and the new plant is grown. Okay, the bud is shown, and then a new individual plant is formed and developed, and this is found in case of the jasmine. Okay, the best example, stolon of jasmine. Okay, now offset. Now this is also very interesting. In some aquatic plants like Pistia, Ashornia, a little branch of one internode length called offset is found. I will show you in the picture. They bear a rosette of leaves concentrated at one region at each node and a tuft of balancing root arising from the base of the discoid stem. Means you see this. Ashornia, okay, they see. Commonly called water hyacinth because it's found in the, see, like this, okay. A swollen petiole and spongy stem, offset. See, so this is called offset. This part, this offset. Okay, so roots are adventitious roots are found. Okay, and there you can see the whole plant in a kind of bunch-like structure. Okay, so this is found in Ashornia and is called water hyacinth, and this is the offset. Okay, like this. This is Pistia. Okay, and this is called offset. So from offset there will be a new plant. Okay, so on each offset. Okay, so this is one offset. One offset will have a leaf like this leaves. Okay, and the adventitious root, and then another offset similar growth will be there. And if there is a kind of these are found in aquatic habitat or where there is a lot of water is flowing. Okay, it's called water hyacinth. Now another one is the sucker. From the name itself you can imagine this is related with some kind of sucking action. So these are lateral branches that originate from the underground portion of the main stem. Underground portion, main stem only, okay, but underground portion. The stem is there, okay, right from the base of the right from the surface of the soil, but main stem, and then from for example this is the base. From there underground they grow. I'll show you in the picture also. They grow horizontal beneath the soil and come out obliquely upward, giving rise to leafy shoot. They are growing under the soil, and they grow under the soil. They grow under the soil laterally and then obliquely up, and they come out of the soil, giving rise to leafy shoot and to grow into individual plant. Okay, so they are useful for vegetative propagation. Now here also, this is also suckers of banana. You can see. Okay, so what that you see how they are suckers of pineapple. Okay, and you see now they are from the base of the stem. Okay, they are growing horizontally, and then they are going obliquely and come out of the soil, and then they grow into. So these are the modifications. Suckers of chrysanthemum cinerarifolium is the full scientific name. Banana, pineapple, and chrysanthemum. These are the three examples of these stone suckers. Okay. Now coming to the some will go through some questions. Okay. So understood. So this is the this modification is it actually starts under the soil and then comes out of the soil after growing for some distance. Okay. And now we come to some MCQs, some questions. So how many stem modifications are seen in angiosperm? 4, 3, 2, or 1. So it is the 3 types of modifications. Okay. One is the aerial, one is the underground, and third one is the subaerial. Okay, subaerial. Okay, under the ground or on the surface. So the 3 types. Which of the following is an underground stem modification? Rhizome, thorn, phylloclade, or bulbous? So completely underground, that is the rhizome, like we have seen in the case of the ginger officinale or ginger. Okay, stem tendrils are woody straight or slender spirally coiled, flattened cylindrical, skeletal. So it is slender spirally coiled, obviously. Okay, so number 2 is the correct answer. So please try to understand this. These are supportive. These are not involved in vegetative propagation. Okay, so many modifications we observe that these modifications are involved or help in vegetative propagation. But here in this case, stem tendril, this is not involved in vegetative propagation. This is to support, to provide the support for the growing plant. Okay, which stem modification contains chlorophyll and carries out photosynthesis? This is very simple and it's important for exam. The last one, the third one, and the fourth question is very important. Is it the thorn, is it the tendril, is it the phylloclades, or bulbous? It's a phylloclade. Okay, because these are fleshy and the leaves are the actual which contain stomata, and they carry out a transpiration and photosynthesis. But since transpiration is not will be very helpful and harmful, okay, and it will not be economical for the plant, because there is plant needs to conserve water, because these are growing in the arid region in dry condition, so these leaves are modified into spines, and stems are modified into fleshy which structure, okay, and that has lot of water, okay, it's conserve water, okay. So leaves are modified into spines to escape transpiration or reduce transpiration, and phylloclades is the fleshy structure which carry out the photosynthesis also, so carry out the function of leaves itself, okay. Now, which of the following is a subaerial modification? Bulbous, phylloclades, stem tendril, or sucker? It is sucker. I told you, sucker, isn't? So, why sucker? Because you know that it is growing horizontally and then coming out of the soil. Okay, from base of the stem, just little below the base, it will grow horizontally or laterally, and then grow obliquely and come out of the soil, and then they grow in a plant. This also helps in the vegetative propagation, and this is called suckers. Okay. Now identify the plant shown in identify the plant which shows a stem tuber. Okay, it is potato, curcuma, or colocasia, or gingiber. Very easy. Okay, it is potato. It is stem tuber in the potato, because it has got the eye, bird, scale, leaf. Okay, and its function is to store food. So this is modified to store food. Okay, this modification is found as storage of food. Okay, so this is found in potato. Underground stem. It's not a root or not fruit or anything. This is the stem, but underground stem, modified to store food. Okay, so it is potato. Now, which plants form new plants when older plants die? Oh, yeah, this is very important, very interesting. As I told you, in case of the is it storon, is it offset, or it is a runner, or it is bulbous? So it is the runner, I told you, because subaerial stems creep horizontally on the surface. They grow in different direction and form new plants. Okay, from the surface, when older plants die, new plants will form. Okay, from the plant, from the runners, okay, which has grown horizontally. So if older one has completely grown and has become completely dead, then the new one which is grown, okay, horizontally, that will form the plants. So this is found in case of the runner. This is an important question for exam. Runner, important for NEET also. Runner. Okay, which plant form new plants when older plants die? Important for NEET examinations. Okay, this concept is important. Okay, so runner, this is the runner. Now we will just recapitulate what did we study. So we discussed that like yesterday, on last class we studied the root modification. Today we discussed about the stem modification, and we observed that there are three main types of modification in the stem. One is the aerial modification, okay. One is the subaerial modification. That means at the level of the ground or little below the ground, okay, or a little bit of the soil. And another is the completely underground, okay, under the soil. Okay, so in that case, the stems are modified to perform different functions such as the storage of food, okay, support like tendril, storage for like potato, and some for the vegetative propagation. Okay, depending on the, and also we saw that some stems which are growing, some plants which are growing in arid region or where there is scarcity of water, the supply of water is very less. Okay, where they are growing in dry conditions, they are forming some fleshy swollen structure or flat structure which has got water content inside, and the leaves are reduced to spines, like a small spine structure, to reduce or escape the transpiration. Because if transpiration occurs, then it will be a huge loss of water. So to avoid that transpiration process, the leaves are exposed, and the stems has taken over the function of photosynthesis, which is normally we find it is the function of leaves. Okay, but since leaves are already reduced, okay, so these are is phylloclade. The phylloclade is a flattened structure, okay, and green in color, carry out the photosynthetic process and supply them. There are some other modifications as we saw, that the runners, stolon, suckers, okay, they are growing, okay, they're creeping, okay, runners are there creeping and they're growing horizontally, and from the nodes the new plants are forming. If the older plants die, because they're already grown, completely fully formed and has matured and died, the new one, okay, the node from there, the new plant will grow. Okay, so this kind of all these kind of modifications are there in the stems, and these stem modification is in response with the adaptation to live and grow in particular habitat, in particular environment, and in particular type of conditions. Okay, because plants are modified, adapted, even animals, depending on the type of habitat they live in. Okay, so this was all about the stem modifications. Okay, and from this not much question, but questions are asked. Okay, some questions are asked, like I told you. Okay, aerial modifications, subaerial modifications, okay, and the examples. Okay, and so you after this class, like I am repeating again, okay, like past 2 weeks, okay, I was telling that we will be sending you the DPP. So today also we will send you the DPP right after this class. What you need to do is you have to go to your academic booster. You have to click on the resources, and then you will find on the left hand side you will find some links are there, and you can see there's a link called writing material. Click on that, and then you will find the DPP sent by us. You download that, and you solve the questions that is there in the DPP, and you send back to us for evaluations. Okay, and then we'll go through your answers, and we'll send you the remarks. Okay, so thank you for joining today and listening. Okay, so tomorrow again we'll meet at the same time, okay, with another new topic. So till then, goodbye. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.